as we're out on the bank doing a bit of feeder fishing, I thought, why not take the opportunity to give you my top 5 winter method feeder tips for chucking at range for big carp and bream. So tip 1, accuracy. I think accuracy is very, very important, especially in the winter months. In the summer, you can get away with going off side to side and not being as accurate because the fish are moving around a lot more, they're looking for food. In the winter, they're not looking for it as much, and you've got to be as accurate as you can and keep your baited area as tight as you can. So accuracy is very, very important. Now, how can you keep your accuracy, and how can you make yourselves more accurate? So picking a far bank marker that's not going to move, that you can chuck to, and make sure that you're in line with it all the time. Now, the next thing with accuracy is the distance you're fishing. So make sure that you're at that distance every time. So fish to a clip, so you chuck into a clip every time, so you know that you're at the same length, but also stick your rods up and or count your reel turns back, just to make sure that you're in the same spot all the time. You don't want to hook that big bonus carp, take the clip off, and then not find that same spot again. Or even if you crack off, you don't want to be cracking off and then not finding that same spot and you're getting your bites on. So that's really, really important. That is, accuracy is very, very important. So tip number 2, I would say having the right gear. So when you're chucking long distances and chucking big feeders, you know, on big open waters, having the right gear and the correct gear is very important. So I'm chucking 60 meters a day and I'm fishing a 12'6", 80 gram distance master rod and a 320 extremity reel. Now, you wouldn't be casting those sort of distances with a 45 gram large feeder with a 10-foot rod or a 9-foot rod. So having the right rod that can chuck the weight of feeders that you're casting, and a big reel to be able to hit those distances, but also crank that feeder back in. So having the right gear is very important. So tip number 3, timing your bites, or timing your casts, I might say. So timing your casts, I think, is very important in winter, because it allows you to get a gauge of how much bait you're putting in your swim, but also you time your bites, because your bites normally come roughly the same time. So if you can time your bites, you know roughly when it's going to happen, but also it allows you to load your method in a certain way to sort of react to those bite times. So if I was waiting 10-15 minutes for a bite, I'd squeeze my method quite hard so it opens up a little bit before that 10 to 15 minutes. If I was getting bites quite quickly, then I'd probably put my hook bait on top of the method so that my hook bait's exposed quite quickly. So timing your bites and timing your casts is very important. Tip number 4, change your hook baits regular. Change the colours, change different flavours, just change your hook baits quite regular. Because what you'll find is you'll change your hook bait and you'll get a bite quite quickly. And then you'll chuck out with that same hook bait and you won't get a bite. But you change it again and somehow you get one. I don't know why it happens, but it happens a lot. So change your hook baits. Change your colours, change your flavours. So if you're using wafters, change from a yellow to a pink to a white, and different flavours as well. But also change to smaller hook baits, because smaller hook baits can also get you bites when nothing else will. So baits like dead maggots, 4mm wafters, 4mm pellets, really, really good baits to get you bites. Tip number 5, and the last tip, and I think the most important one, is when you hook a fish, take your time. Make sure you get it in and make sure it goes in that net. Because I've seen so many people hook into fish, don't take their time, they rush it in, the hook pulls and they've lost that fish. Now in the winter, especially when you're fishing for big bream and carp like this, they're big fish, they're very important, and they're hard enough to get on the hook as it is. You don't want to be losing them at the net or halfway in. You know, they take a long time to get on the hook. They're hard enough to get on the hook. Once you've hooked it, take your time and make sure it's in the net. That's the most important tip, I think, out of all 5. I hope you've enjoyed those tips. Get out on a bank, give it a go, and see if you can put more fish in your net.